Peace, infinite waters diving deep. Once again, we are here, oh yes, in the art gallery. How to unlock the 4 levels of consciousness to attract anything. Let's just, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. So I'm going to share with you how I have attracted anything, inspiring millions of people. Life is fantastic. And it's only because I became aware of the 4 levels of consciousness, which we're going to dive into. And ever since, my life hasn't been the same. So ask yourself today, am I aware of the levels? No? Don't worry about it. And we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello? Okay, so it hasn't always been smooth sailing. Along my early journey, I was lost, confused, didn't know what I was doing. And the first level of consciousness, which I was at and so many people on the planet are in, it's an archetype. It's what I call the drone archetype. And this is someone who just follows orders. That was me along my early journey. Didn't even ask questions, just did what they said. No emotion. A lack of sensitivity, desensitized. You're almost like a drone because you are being remote controlled. Slow motion this side. You have no mind of your own. It's what I call living in the conveyor belt lifestyle. In this matrix, so many of us, we just wake up, get dressed, go to work, come home and do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like a drone right now because I'm just listening to what they say, what they tell me I should be doing with my life. The problem with the drone archetype is that these are people who don't have a mind of their own, and I didn't. So what's the solution? What helped me move past the first level of consciousness? I had to learn how to develop a mind of my own, and you can do that by simply being clear, impeccable with your word, by really asking questions. Is this the life I truly want to live? Or is this the life my parents want me to live? Because once again, the drone just follows. Once you are moving out of the drone archetype consciousness, you are now not following the crowd, you are following your own path. Slow motion this side. You are developing a mind of your own. And that's when you move into the second level of consciousness. Consciousness just means awareness. And for me, this is the archetype of the artist. So I'm a producer. I make music, and I grew up making music. And I could see how I was moving out of the drone archetype to the artist archetype. And the artist archetype is really someone who is now feeling. They've got a sensitivity. They've got a mind of their own. They're tapping into their emotions. You hear these wonderful singers and you're like, oh my gosh, this really touched me. That's what the cat down the road says. So the artist, which is the second level of consciousness, is now bringing into existence. And that is phenomenal. But at the same time, here is where it gets a little bit trippy. Bringing what into existence? You see, I realized when I was making music, I could make music to uplift or I could make music to distract. So it's a powerful archetype being the artist because you now have a power and a responsibility to start changing the minds of so many millions of people. But at the same time, it's a choice. You can help people or you can manipulate people. Many times, a lot of artists, sometimes they suffer because they're always trying to please the audience. They sometimes create for the outside instead of the inside. And that's where the third level of consciousness comes into play. This is The Alchemist. So The Alchemist is a great book, by the way, by Paulo Coelho. When you want something so much, the whole universe conspires to help you get it, right? Fabulous line. I realized I was moving from the artist to the alchemist. An alchemist is when you make, alchemy is when you make the best out of the worst and you don't allow external events to govern your internal condition. Slow motion this side. The reason why the alchemist is even more powerful than the artist is because the alchemist is now the transformer. They can have a really bad day, but it doesn't affect them because they are learning the tools of alchemy, which is to take the worst thing and turn it into the best thing. And a lot of alchemists are realizing, 7-Day Vegan Challenge, how much food has to do with their emotions. So for instance, if you've had a really bad day, an alchemist is not going to eat foods which mirror that experience. They eat foods which can heal them and get them through that experience. Happened to me along my journey. If I'm having a really rough day, I make the most delicious green smoothie and all my problems disappear for a few seconds, right? So the alchemist is always getting to know themselves. If you go to ancient Egypt, on all of the temples, it said, know thyself. The reason why an alchemist is super powerful and ends up attracting anything they want, because an alchemist is someone who goes into the wilderness. They go into the wilderness. Sometimes you might have to be alone. No one's around. Don't worry about it. That's the secret of alchemy. Sometimes learning that there won't always be people around you. And it's at that time you start to rediscover your inner gifts, to say, actually, I'm a transformer. I can turn anything and make it into anything I want. Now, the fourth level of consciousness is the wizard. And the wizard is super powerful because what the wizard does is that the wizard creates their own reality. So where the drone archetype takes the reality of others and lives other people's lives, the wizard archetype creates their own reality. They are a creator of worlds. So it's super powerful. This really freed me. And a lot of people say, okay, Ralph, how did you unlock the wizard archetype? And for me, it's about whole brain functioning. I'm left-handed. I write with my left hand, but at the same time, I'm practicing with my right hand. I skate this way, regular, but at the same time, I can skate this way, goofy. So whole brain functioning is what I call left hand, right hand. You are fusing everything together. In essence, it's about integration. So I've made so many videos outside. Now I make videos inside, then I go back outside. I'm always switching it up. That's the secret of the wizard. Ultimately, I talk about becoming your greatest version. That's great, but I'm not just talking about one thing. I'm talking about so many things, so many different topics, right? Lucid dreaming, relationships, so many things. And it's beautiful because this is the art of the wizard. The wizard is the drone, the artist, and the alchemist all in one. So sometimes you might see people who are very awake, and sometimes they're kind of acting like they're ignorant. That's the secret of the wizard as well, because once again, you can tap into other people's worlds and then go back into your own. It's super powerful, and that's what I've seen along my journey. I meet people where they are, and to unlock the 4 levels of consciousness to attract anything, just realize, say, okay, which level am I at? Am I the drone, the artist, the alchemist, or the wizard? Ultimately, we want to be moving up the 4 levels from drone to artist, alchemist, the wizard, where we are fusing spirit and matter. We are fusing both worlds, the material and the spiritual, both sides of the brain to get that whole brain functioning. So there you have it. It's there. Have a beautiful day. We're just, whoa, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello there? Infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace. You.